Hey, this is Alex Vasco with All For Him Racing Videos, and you're listening to Cash on the Hood podcast. When you're done listening, please go over to YouTube and check out all the number 4 Him Racing videos for all your derby action needs.
Hey, yo, it's Jason Sauer back with you at Cash on the Hood podcast. I love it that you guys are here. Please like, share, subscribe. I'm here with my main man, Brian Cottington, behind the decks. We are recording live here in the home studio of Most Wanted Fine Art, and we are filming with the brand new OBS bot, Ops bot, that Brian brought to the studio here. So if you're watching this on YouTube, thanks and salute to them for letting us use this camera and checking it out while I sit on the cool Most Wanted couch. So Brian, if you don't guys already know, has Cinema Psychos, a well-sponsored podcast now. So you have to go over there and check it out, and he would love for you to check out his sponsors on his podcast. They are 300 plus shows. So my show, of course, is Racing Against Steven Sickles, Revved Up GarageCast. Whoever gets to 100,000 downloads first gets to host the Christmas party. So I'm hoping that's me. All right, we're at episode number 2 of Going to Houston Art Car Parade. If you are just tuning in, I am describing what it's like to take this 1977 Chrysler Town and Country station wagon that we took all the windows out except the windshield to keep from getting bugs in our teeth, while we drive this car around a parade of 250,000 people downtown Houston. It is the biggest, most wildest car event I've ever been a part of. It's part Burning Man, it's part lowrider, it's all art, and it's the people of Houston who make it special. They make it so special. They come out in force and they cheer. Very loud cheers, and they're very authentic and loving on the Art Car Parade. It was the 37th annual Art Car Parade. So I had just taken my car off the trailer, and we're setting up for the Art Car Ball. And the Art Car Ball is the party the night before. So there's things to do at the Art Car Parade. It's very well organized. There's morning drives to schools. 150 people go around, morning TV crews, pick up the whole thing. It's well documented. And it's a really cool cruising event. The city of Houston supports it. If you're in an art car, you have free reign basically to just drive however. But you're on parade. You're waving to everybody. And the people of Houston know what it's about, and they support it. It's beautiful. But I was going to the Airbnb. I had a pool. And I knew that I had a car with no air conditioner. And I knew I had a car that was I'd committed to only running in the parade only, because I was like, this thing is not going to last. We have built it to smash. We built it to be a demolition derby car. There's no alternator in it, so we've set up a 2-battery system. We have 2 more batteries in the back in case those go dead. I have a 5-gallon fuel cell in between the back seats. So the back of the car, the back seat faces backwards. So there's like a bit of a spine in between the 2 rear seats. And in that cavernous space, we were able to put the 2 extra batteries in. Steven Sickles and his crew were able to put a 5-gallon fuel cell. We had just had the carburetor rebuilt from Benchwich Carburetor in Youngstown, Ohio, which is pretty cool. Again, I was telling Brian about how when you rev up one of these cars, all the old men on the property find their way to you. So this guy finds his way to me, and he's like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You know, this is the Pittsburgh art car." And he's like, "Oh, I'm from Youngstown." I'm like, "Oh, I got a nice story of Youngstown. I went and got the carburetor rebuilt from supposedly the best Chrysler carburetor guy in the history of Chrysler." And he goes, "Benchwich Carburetor?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I sat behind him in school my whole life." Oh, great guy. So now I have a best friend. All right, so this guy is with me. He's got an art car. He's pretty cool. And they're celebrating an artist whose name is David Best, and he builds temples for Burning Man. And he built a temple out of laser cut panels that they're going to burn in November. But it's the biggest commission piece the Orange Show has ever created in the parking lot. It's pretty awesome. So he finds his way to me. He sees my sculpture. He's like, "Oh, you got like John Chamberlain sculpture." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "That car though." He goes, "What did it look like before you effed it up?" I'm like, "Oh man, it's going to be like that." So this is the number one artist on the property has already given me some hell about my car, about it being lowered and covered in stickers and everything, and I'm like loving it. So I got new best friends all over the place. I'm having the time of my life. This is great. So my aunt is unable to bring the cousins over because we were going to have a cousin party at the pool, leaving just Nina and I to go to the art car ball, which is one of the biggest parties of the year in the city of Houston. It is an enormous party. And there's 250 art cars out here at the Orange Show complex. And I have my sculptures directly out front. And my sculpture's feeling really underbuilt because I am in the land of monumental sculpture. And I'm like, yes. Everything I'm loving about it. And Nina says to me, she goes, "You're the only car here with the hood open." Because I had the engine painted pink, if you can imagine. And the wires coming off the distributor bright orange. So everybody's like looking at my car, just looking at how it's interesting. And I'm just loving it. What a great car show. So the art car ball meant that I got extra tickets so Grandma and Rowdy could go. So it's not a children's event. If you can imagine, it's a pretty crazy event where people get wild. There's a lot of nude people who are painted, So... But Rowdy grew up on a stage at Art Gallery, so I feel like he's cultured enough that he can handle this type of stuff. So we took Grandma and Rowdy out thrift store shopping like we do. So we got Grandma a dress, and Rowdy got himself, I think, a kimono or something. It was pretty cool. We already had it set up where we were all going to wear our art car vests, but, the plans change. Now we show up to the art car ball. It's absolutely wonderful. It's packed full of people. There's 2 bands playing because it's big, and then there's a giant band in the parking lot. They're playing. It's a Talking Heads cover band, so there's a lot of moving and grooving. And I told myself, "Do not start this car. Do not start this car. Like, you leave it alone, Jason. You don't need to be that guy year one." So I left it alone. I got these cool little lights that I put in the headers that were like LED lights that like just kind of glowed. So that was interesting enough. So I go home. Our car parade went great. We do the Irish goodbye. Just peel on out. And we go home, and I finally read the email about what we got to do for the day of the parade. And I realize, oh my gosh, the parade is 4 miles away from where the car is parked. And I'm like, this car is not going to make 4 miles in traffic because I know that they have some of the freeway blocked off because the car parade. And I'm like, it's going to be nothing but traffic. And I'm like, all right, Jason, you got to get up at 5:30. You got to get truck and trailer. You got to get the car loaded on a trailer. You got to find, they have this spot on the map. I found in tiny detail. It's like the loading zone. I'm like, there's going to be other people loading. You're going to have to get there. So, okay, I go to bed, and I'm like, all right, Sauer, this is a lot of work. And I'm like, you're going to have 10 people in this car. It's going to be the best day of your life. I'm like, you got this. All right, so 6 o'clock, 5:30 rolls up. I go to the site. I fire up that car at like 6 a.m. in a residential neighborhood. I'm like, whoa. I get it on the trailer, and I'm like, yes, it's going to be a great day. People are coming out of the woodwork because other art car people are like loading up their contraptions too. So I'm not alone in this effort. And I get everybody out of bed. The kids are all dropped off. Everybody's in the truck. I get everybody to the job site. It's early in Texas time. The parade doesn't start till 2, but I'm there at like 10 in the morning. Thank goodness I got the absolute last parking spot. And this story is going to get to a point where the cops are involved. And we're going to be thankful for this last parking spot. So I'm doing a little foreshadowing here. So we get the car off the trailer. We make a ton of noise. Everyone's like, heck yeah. I get everyone in the car. We got, and there's more people going to meet us during the parade as it goes along. So it is like a mile to where I'm even going to get parked. And I'm like, this car is hot. I'm like, we're going to have a heck of a day with this Demolition Derby car. I might ruin everybody's adventure that we spent 12 years. I'm like, but you got this, Sauer. You specifically chose a Chrysler. This motor can run hot. We can puke water. It'll still do the parade. Like, we know this from Demolition Derby. We got this. I'm like, you got this. Let's go. All right, so I pull up. And they want, like, there's a long line for judging. I'm like, I'm not waiting in this line. So I just scoot past judging. And I find, again, I have a handler with me. She's on a bicycle. She rides me all the way up to section number 149. And I meet up with my friends from Ohio. And I'm like, we did it. We were in the line for the parade. We did it. And then, like, the crowd is starting to fill in. People are saving their spots on the street. You know, there's pop-up tents. There's grills. Like, this is a big deal. So we're by the Henry Moore sculpture, which is a famous sculptor, of art. So they have a huge sculpture. So the kids are playing on that. Nina takes them down to Lego Village. But the Texas heat is starting to creep in, and we know that we're not going till 2. And I'm like, oh, goodness. So I worry about my family. So my cousin Matt bought tickets in the VIP area for him, his wife, my mom, and his mom. And he has a plan. They're on. So how the parade goes is you go, you start like in the park on the freeway at the same place, and you drive into the city, and you do 6 blocks of the city. You drive out of the city. So it's like, I don't know, 1.5 miles, 2 miles each way. So it's like a 4-mile trip. So I've got extra cans of gas in the back of the car because I'm like, we are going to run out of gas because this brand new carburetor is just going to suck it down. And I know I'm going to rev it to the moon. So, okay, I'm like, I got everything. I got 5 gallons of gas. So I got it in 2.5-gallon gas tanks because of how it's situated in the car. The 5-gallon tank is just, it's too big. I can't turn it to get it in there. So I'm thinking of every single detail. How are we going to get through this parade? So I'm filming stuff. It gets going. All right. Boom. Parade time. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Yes, man. We're rolling. I got everybody in the car. Brian, he's got his wife, his daughter. I got Rowdy, his 2 cousins. I got 9 in the back. Everybody's screaming, we crash cars. We crash cars out of the car. Most wanted fine art. I got the American flag taped to, standing up and taped to the A pillar or the B pillar. And people are just running up to the car. Like, we support the flag, buddy. I'm like, total Texas. Just like, there's marching bands just screaming, rev it up. And like, okay, it's 250,000 people. I've never, ever. I've done a Baker's Fair that had 250,000 people, but that was over the course of a weekend. Never, ever, ever have I ever experienced driving through 1.5 miles of just people on top the freeways, in the crowd, on bleachers. Like, yes. And they are stoked for the motor. They are so stoked. I gave her just a little crack, and people like, if they're looking ahead, their necks immediately turn, look back. They clutch their pearls. They're like, oh. So I'm waiting. I'm like, don't send it. I'm like, there's 3 overpasses before you get into the city. I'm like, you wait. You hold it, Sauer. Hold. Don't be too excited. Hold, Sauer. I get into the first underpass. So we're just creeping. All right. So I'm just neutral dropping, neutral drive. All right. Because this car is such a large piece of equipment. I'm worried about boiling the brakes over, so I'm not trying to hold too much on the brakes. I'm letting the transmission do some work, and this is foreshadowing the future. We are going to have transmission problems here, but we don't know it yet. I enter, and I'm like, don't do it. I said, you wait to the end of the first overpass before you crack off just one good one. So we creep up to the end, and I go ahead and just send one good high rev, and the crowd just goes, whoa, and I'm like, no way. All right, so we creep up to the next overpass, and I send off one good crack because I know the next one is right before we get into the city. And I get into the city, and I send it, and it just so happens the very first VIP tent is my family. So I know they're filming, they love me, and I know they probably think it's some redneck stuff, but I go ahead and just send that motor right as we enter into the city, right between the skyscrapers. Just, You can hear it in other people's videos. You know the Pittsburgh Art Car is coming. And I feel bad for everybody around me, in me, near me that was in the parade, but this is how we do on our first year. We make an appearance. Okay, I'm feeling good, but now I notice a little, I got, something's happening with the carburetor. What is, it's keeping the same noise. Like normally when I put the car in drive, the carburetor kicks down and it's like brr, 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 brr. So I can't get any like snappy revs out of the motor while it's in drive. One, I don't want to run into the guy behind me. I don't want to launch this giant car filled with 10 people at already 4,000 pounds into the guy in front of me from Ohio. Salute, Greg. You're my man, Greg. So as we get into town, every block has its own enormous PA system, and I'm hearing all of our accolades. Pittsburgh Art Car, created at the Museum of Graffiti, Wynwood Mural Fest, Miami, Sticker Bomber, Demolition Derby Driver, Daily Driver, Demolition Derby. You know, I mean, everything that I want the world to know about Most Wanted Fine Art, about Demolition Derby. This is the thing I wanted, the cultural relevant moment where I can show Demolition Derby and sticker bombing and my love of these things and my art to 250,000 people all at once. So I see the morning news and they're live, and I just send the motor to them. They jump out of their chair. They turn on, take a picture of the car. I rev it up some more. I'm like, oh my gosh, mechanical failure is imminent because now smoke is starting to come out of the car. And I'm like, oh goodness. I'm sorry, I'm holding the microphone right to my mouth. I'm so pumped. All right, so we turn the corner, and I'm like, we make it past the final VIP area, and Texas does it right. I mean, we are in magnolia trees or something. It is just absolutely gorgeous, and I'm just smoking this car. So I no longer have to put the car in neutral. The car is now found. All 5 drive gears are now neutral. So I have neutral and park is all I have left in this car. So to make the car move even an inch, I have to stand on the motor and just force it, and smoke's rolling out from underneath it. I'm getting to the best moment of my whole life. Hold on. I get there and I pull up, and my family's waiting for me so we dump off half the carload of people. And I'm like, they're going back to the Airbnb. They're going to be traffic. They're going to get in the pool. See you when you're done, Jason. You did great. You made the family proud. We love you. Awesome. I'm like, hell yeah. I'm tears in my eye. I did it. Great dad moment. I did it. So I'm seeing my buddy Brian beside me, and I high five him again. Don't celebrate too early, Jason. I'm like, we did it. I did the whole parade. Exactly. I wanted the car to make it through past the judging and staging and VIP areas. And I'm on my way back through all the people who already saw me the first time rev it up. But I'm on the other side of the street, so the other people only heard me because they didn't see me through the crowd of people, you know. So I decide now's a good time to take a break. I'm going to pull the car over in between these 2 overpasses. Let it cool down, and I'm going to check my gasoline situation, and I'm going to fill up with gas. Well, what had happened was earlier on the way through, there was this dude who ran up to my window. He's like, I want to buy the car. I want to buy the car right now. How much? And I'm like, dude, I'm in a parade. Like, get out. I love it. Thank you. Hold on. I'm in a different moment. I'm not trying to sell the car. Hold on. And I'm just like, 10 grand, whatever. Get out of my face. He's like, and he just ran off. And I was like, okay. So as I'm chilling there, letting the car cool down, and I'm putting gas in there, this guy comes back out of the crowd. He's made his way. Turns out he had followed me through the whole parade. And he's like, all right, 6 grand. And Nina's like, you got cash? And this man pulls out a big wad of cash out of his pocket. And he's like, I got all sorts of cash. He's like, just bring the car to Virginia on the way home, right? You coming home tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I'm starting this thing in Virginia, and I want to buy this car and put it in with my cars. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, let's exchange numbers. So I haven't realized that there's people on the overpass. I haven't realized that the parade has kind of come to a stop because the car behind me was this Phoenix that was so huge that it had to lower and raise for the overpasses. So it was in the lower and raising moment. So there was a break in the parade anyway. So the whole parade had nobody to watch but me outside of this car making a cash deal sale on a car while I'm gassing up and the car's smoking. So I'm like, what a cool moment. So again, I don't know this moment is happening. And we're getting to the best moment of my life in just moments. So my wife yells at him. He's like, I got the cash. So we exchange phone numbers. We text each other to make sure the phone numbers are real, and verify it. Okay. I'm like, all right, peace out, dude. I'll see you in Virginia tomorrow. You have the 10 grand cash, and I'm going to sell the car I never thought I'd ever sell in my life. All right. So let's just pause right there, and I'm going to sell you the greatest moment of my life in 2 more weeks. It is so rad, and it made me think of all you, my dearest friends. I want my dearest friends so greatly to experience this moment for themselves. If you ever wanted to know what it feels like to be in such a great environment. All right, 2 more weeks. Thank you for listening to Cash on the Hood. I love you guys so much. Again, OpSpot, yo, thanks for the camera, filming from home. Brian Cottington behind the deck, Cinema Psycho podcast, all for him racing videos, Kelly O's restaurants. Without you guys, I'm nothing. Of course, I always need more sponsors. And thank you so much. I'm shaking because I am about to tell you how great and crazy the next 200 yards in that car is. All right. Peace out. See you in 2 weeks.